Next, we're going to hear from Margaret Randall, author of several books, Letters That Breathe Fire, Letters from the Edge, and More Letters from the Edge, Outrider Conversations, Luck from 2023, Artists in My Life, Risking a Somersault in the Air, Conversations with Nicaraguan Writers, and My Life in 100 Objects. And the question for Margaret comes from Alice Rothschild. And the question is, how does your experience of political repression compare to what is happening in the US today?
Thank you, Alice. Your question is one I've asked myself in recent times. As you know, suffered political repression here in the US beginning in the mid 1980s when I returned from 23 years in Latin America and the government ordered me deported because of the content of some of my books. But that wasn't the first time. I was forced underground and eventually had to flee Mexico due to my participation in the student movement of 1968. I had four children, the oldest 8 and the youngest only 3 months, and had to send them to Cuba months before I managed to get there myself. So by the time of my deportation case, I was very familiar with repression. This second struggle was much more prolonged, though, and what was at stake was deportation from the land where I was born. At the time, I remember thinking that Reagan was the worst US president in my lifetime. My lawyers and I saw a very real possibility that I would lose the case and be forced to leave the country. I was fortunate to have tremendous support from many quarters, and after almost 5 years of struggle, we won. As bad as Reagan was, his right-wing administration can't compare with what we face today. Governmental checks and balances still existed back then. We still had separation of powers and a functioning judicial system. Today we have fascism, and Trump is deporting hundreds of thousands, maybe many, to prisons in such places as El Salvador, Uganda, and Rwanda. So that's my answer. But if I haven't used all my time, I'd like a couple of seconds more to respond to John's question from the previous discussion. How do we become better writers? I believe we do that by paying close attention to the world around us, from landscape to human experience, agonies to joy, and make writing our priority. Alertness, imagination, consistency, and discipline. Thank you very much.